intuition. Today we're going to do a reading. I want to do one about who is spirit sending to you, the collective. I mean this in a more romantic sense, but I guess we'll see what comes out. Maybe there'll be unromantic people that play a part in this, but that's the idea. Let's just dive right in. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who are you guiding towards the collective right now? Please and thank you, Spirit. Who are you guiding to the collective? That's a big stack, but I'll take the one that was flipped up. Ooh, okay. Anybody else? Who are you sending to the collective? Please and thank you, Spirit. I'll take the top one. Where's the back? Okay. One more. Okay. Alrighty. So, what we have the King of Swords, Four of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck we have Eight of Swords. Alright, let's just dive right into the clarification. So I guess I'll ask like who and like what purpose are they serving? Or maybe it'll just come out what their purpose is. Should I ask? I'm a little tired today, sorry. I'll just ask whatever Spirit sees fit for me to ask. Starting out with the King of Swords. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is this that you are directing towards the collective? Who are you guiding towards the collective with this King of Swords? Okay. Anything else for this King of Swords? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay. The cards are coming out a little clumsily today. I'll take these ones, but it feels bizarre. Okay, well let's start with that. I gotta reposition because, of course, my legs are falling asleep as per usual. Okay, this might have been a bit much for this one, but that's fine. So, clarifying that King of Swords, we have the Four of Swords, Two of Cups, the Empress, King of Cups, Four of Cups, Eight of Swords, Ten of Cups, Ace of Cups. Bottom of the deck is Nine of Wands. Very, very, very interesting energy. Well, the reason I chuckled at the Two of Cups is because like that's clearly indicating that this is somebody that's intended for you romantically. It's following a period of rest or just taking care of yourself, maybe even self-isolating to a degree. Kind of being on your own, caring for yourself. This person's coming into your life after a point of doing that. And the King of Swords, it's interesting that this is love related because the King of Swords is not typically a very emotional person. Quite intellectual, actually. You could bond over intellectual like topics, discussions. You might have similarities in the things that mentally intrigue you. This person does see you as an equal. Maybe the both of you have been self-isolating, and then after you both come out of this period of self-isolation, you bump into each other or something. It's interesting too. This Empress card feels very much like your energy, the collective. And so it makes sense why this person would be drawn to you. You're incredibly attractive, abundant. You work well with others. And It's interesting that the Empress was then followed by the King of Cups, almost as if you are a trigger for this person's emotions. Not in a bad way though, it feels positive. It feels like it's almost because of the way that you show up in this beautiful energy. It makes this person feel safe to open up to you emotionally and feel like they can express their feelings to you and that they would be safe doing that. Because the Empress also has that sort of motherly energy to her. And this is regardless of gender. So, you know, just somebody with that sort of parental caring energy that you exude. And so it really does give this person feeling like, it makes this person feel like they have like a safe space with you when it comes to their emotions. They feel like you, like they would be safe sharing their emotions with you. Maybe they didn't feel so safe doing that in the past. And actually that would make a lot of sense too, because we have the Four of Cups following that King of Cups. As if to say, this person in the past, when they have offered their cup of love to people, they were often rejected. And so maybe that's kind of what sort of forced them into this energy of this King of Swords, where it's like they are more detached from their emotions. It feels very much like a sort of a self-protection response, you know, to keep themselves from being vulnerable and therefore getting hurt. I feel like they internalize this a lot, this feeling of their love not being enough, or feeling like they weren't good enough before in their past when it came to other love pursuits. Because then there's that Eight of Swords, which is also at the bottom of the main deck here. So definitely could be this person's energy. They, yeah, as a result of their, I want to say their love was like taken advantage of or not appreciated properly. And this got them really stuck in their head, stuck in certain mindsets. It feels like this could have been a situation in which they kind of really internalized it and sort of, it's almost like they, instead of being like, oh, this person just, yeah, like when this person shared their cup of love with other people in the past, instead of saying when those people, you know, denied them, ignored them, whatever took place, it's almost like, oh poop. I got a bug bite on my leg and it's just like crazy. Let me just, okay. It feels like they internalized that rejection and they made it feel personal. So I feel like instead of, yeah, like instead of them taking those rejections and being like, okay, that person just isn't interested in what I have to offer, or, you know, whatever, that person just maybe has a different type, or, you know, that person probably just, who knows, you're like, you know, kind of just saying like, oh yeah, well, that happens from time to time. They took it very personally, it feels like, and they were like, okay, so something is inherently wrong with me. That's what I feel very strongly, is this person was like, I'm the problem, instead of just being like, rejection's a part of life. It kind of reminds me of like those TikTok, I believe it was like a TikTok trend where it was like rejection exposure or therapy kind of thing, where it's like people would like purposely do like rejection based interactions, like maybe ask out a stranger to face that rejection, so that they could kind of get used to the feeling of rejection, so that they could overcome that fear. Because that, I think a fear of rejection, it actually holds a lot of us back in life. But, you know, I'm thinking specifically more so towards the romance. It's almost like this person took rejection as being a personal attack on them. And they even tried to sort of intellectualize that feeling and be like, okay. And this is honestly kind of relatable. I think especially as we're like, you know, growing into humans, growing into adults, and we experience rejection growing up when we say express feelings for someone, and they don't feel the same way, we can very much kind of internalize that and be like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not big enough, I'm not small enough. Like, you know, like we kind of take it as, oh, that's what's wrong, rather than sometimes people just don't match up, and that's okay. Sometimes we have feelings for someone and that person doesn't feel the same way. That's totally okay. And the sooner that we realize that, it's actually a blessing to know if somebody else is not interested in us, so we can kind of push them to the side and keep going with our lives. But sometimes we take those moments and we're like, oh, it's because I am, you know, weird. It's because I am too needy. I'm too, you know, whatever. And so it almost feels like this person built up some mindsets and ways of thinking, specifically around rejection, and that caused them to be very closed off to the feeling, to that feeling of being safe with their emotions. So it's almost like they like shut down their emotions completely almost. Because they were like, okay, this is only, you know, people haven't wanted this in the past from me, so therefore it's useless and I should just throw those emotions away and never feel anything ever again. Which, you know, obviously is not the healthiest response, but it's a human response, I would say. But I feel like this is a big deal for them, because that is their mindset. Why do I want to say, like, this is their mindset before they met you? That's what I'm feeling. It's like they felt like, okay, maybe love just isn't for me. You know, the people I want don't want me back, so I guess I'm just gonna, you know, stick to myself, not date anyone ever again, not focus on love, not open my heart. But then they bumped into you, and you're this beautiful, and you're probably very emotionally open and very mature and vulnerable. And you show up in a loving way that feels strong. And maybe this is also somebody that could have been raised in a certain culture where, or like an environment where love was seen as a weakness. But here you are showing up as this beautiful, loving, caring energy. And they see that as a strength because of how you show up. And so now they're feeling like, wait a second, maybe I got this whole love thing wrong. And maybe it's okay that those people back there didn't want my cup of love, because that means they just weren't for me. And here is this collective who is looking so strong, capable, and very loving. And so maybe there's something here. Maybe there's a reason for all of this taking place. And that would lead us to the 10 of Cups and the Ace of Cups. So it's like they can picture you being their happily ever after. This is somebody that, it's such an interesting energy, like seeing this person's backstory, because they have so much love in their heart. It's almost like this love was almost waiting for you. I don't know how to word that, because it's like this person, honestly, this is probably a very emotional person, but they felt like they had to block off their heart, not feel their emotions, not feel feelings, not express those feelings especially. But they have so much love inside of them that's just like waiting to be tapped into. I'm getting like literally a picture in my mind of like tapping into a tree for its sap, like maple syrup, the process of like making maple syrup. It's almost like they have an abundance of the sap to make maple syrup. But they thought that it was useless or pointless or whatever to have that. And then you come along and you show them like it's not useless, it's not pointless to have all this sap, because together we can make this into maple syrup and make something very sweet and delicious. And so I feel like they definitely see the two of you building something very beautiful here with all of the love that they feel for you. I think they're hoping that you feel the same way, because the Two of Cups we saw. Like, I feel like this is somebody that maybe they even have a sort of coarse exterior, if that makes any sense. Because especially that we're clarifying the knight of, not knight, the king of swords. And I feel like that would typically give off the vibes of someone that's kind of very stern, maybe stoic, doesn't show a lot. May even be slightly intimidating. May seem like they don't even think about love, you know? I feel like they're probably a very convincing king of swords. And yet you bring out this person's king of cups energy, where it's like, I have so much love in my heart for this person and it's overflowing. They may feel like they need to express these feelings. Like, it feels like, especially with the Eight of Cups, it's like it's literally overflowing. Their emotions here are overflowing for you. So it's like, they may feel like, I gotta tell this person how I feel. And either this person is already in your life, because there's a lot of feelings here, or they're coming into your life after a period of isolation. Whether that be on their end or your end. I feel like it could actually be a mirroring energy, especially because we have the Two of Cups. So that kind of makes me think that maybe the both of you kind of went through your own self-isolation phase, but it was a self-isolation phase. Oh, I guess like that self-isolation phase could also have been like maybe just a period of singleness, where it's like, okay, I'm just not going to focus on relationships. I'm not going to try and put myself out there. I'm just going to focus on me and what I got going on. And then boom, you hit this person. Not literally, like you just come into this person's life and they're just like, whoa, okay. Well, now all these feelings are coming up, so what do I do with that? And so I feel like, especially if this person has some time to think about these feelings bubbling up inside of them. Well, and also the King of Swords is a good communicator. So I feel like this is probably somebody that does not wish to keep those feelings a secret. Or if they do, not for very long. Why do I feel like that could even be like a part of this person's personality, where they may not be very good at holding back information or keeping secrets, which is actually, honestly, that's a beautiful energy to be in a relationship with someone like that, right? Because we don't want somebody that's, we don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that's really good at keeping secrets, right? Like, yeah, probably not the best kind of thing for a long-term relationship, but... And honestly, that's kind of endearing to an extent. Like, why do I feel like this is the type of person to be like, yeah, this is definitely the type of person, if you're in a relationship with this type of person, they'll like get you a Christmas present in November and they'll be like, oh, I can't wait till Christmas comes around. You're gonna love what I got you for Christmas. Let me just tell you. Do you want it now? Do you want it now? I can give it to you now. And it's just like, bro, like, just hold on to it for Christmas, because that's the whole reason why you got it for me, please. Could definitely be one of those people that's really bad about like gifts, especially for the ones they love, because again, they have a lot of emotions here, a lot of love. Like, this is probably somebody too who loves the people in their life, especially because they may not be super open to everyone. So the people that they have in their life, they're very, very special to them. And I feel like they want to express that love to the people that they love as much as possible. I kind of like this duality that I feel with this person, because it's like, just as sweet as they can be, they can also be very closed off. And for all of that energy of being closed off, they can be just as sweet, you know? It's like, to be honest, it feels like this is somebody that kind of reflects the people around them back to them to a degree. And I don't mean that necessarily in a way of like them being fake, but rather like, yeah, for the example of this is like, they feel very safe with you because of the way you show up emotionally in your life and in your interactions with this person. And so it inspires this person to feel like, maybe I can open up emotionally too. And maybe they didn't think about that for a really long time, that was a possibility, that they could open up and it be a safe space to do that. I feel definitely more inclined to say that this person is maybe somebody that was raised to be a man, you know, because it feels like there's a bit of that toxic masculinity as an undercurrent and what is kind of contributing to this person being seen in a specific way and wanting to be seen in a specific way, where it's like, I don't have emotions, I don't feel anything, my heart is dark and cold, I don't know. When in reality that's quite the opposite. This person is very, very kind, very loving. They have a lot of love to give to the right person. But it feels like you actually make this person feel safe. You make this person feel like maybe love does exist. Maybe I can open my heart up again and not be hurt. It's actually a really beautiful energy. This is really cute because it's giving me like this. It really does. It feels kind of dramatic in the way of like, this is probably somebody that thought that maybe they just don't have a soulmate. Maybe nobody really gets them like that. Nobody quite understands them. But then they bump into you and they're feeling all the feelings. And they're like, wait a second, maybe I want to open up to this person. Bottom of the deck, that 9 of Wands. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense with this narrative that I'm feeling with this person. They built up that wall after many bad interactions. A lot of like relationships. They built up their wall over time because of how hurt they had been getting. And so they built up this wall and they're just like, you know what? This wall is forever. I'm never going to show anybody my kind side ever again. I'm never going to show anybody love ever again. But it's almost like the look on this person's face, almost, he's like looking back at the wall. And, you know, it's very kind of open for interpretation here because it's kind of just like a really sort of non-expressive face. But with the way I'm getting this narrative, it's almost like, I don't know, to me it kind of looks like he's kind of looking back at that wall, and part of him is like reassured that it's there so it can protect him. But I feel like there's almost like this undercurrent of like, I kind of wish that somebody would break down this wall though, because it would feel nice to, you know, it'd be nice to feel the sun on my face again because I'm behind this wall. I don't know. It's almost like this person built up this wall, but there was a tiny bit of hope behind that somebody would come along and be able to break down that wall, break down this person's defenses. I think that's what they secretly want, but it may be subconscious though. Maybe they don't consciously wish like, oh, I do hope somebody breaks down my walls and, you know, whatever, but could have taken place on like a more subconscious level where it's like they still believe in love, but they just haven't personally experienced the kind of love that they want. And so they're like, it's easier to just go along with the narrative of love doesn't exist or love isn't for me, you know, all those types of things. I want to see what's underneath that 9 of Wands. Strength card. That's beautiful. You make this person want to be courageous. You make this person want to be strong, overcome these pains of the past, be brave. They could also be getting downloads from spirit about this connection, about how they need to step into this stronger energy that is not so afraid, that is way more open. I do see this person very much admiring you. And why do I feel like it's not just admiring you, but the work that you're doing? Period, maybe. I was gonna say the work that you are doing in the world, but it could just be your work in general, whatever you do, or whatever this person perceives you to do. They very much admire you, I think. Also, I have to be careful with the way I word this because I don't want this to like set anybody up for a toxic relationship, but there's something about, and maybe it's just that traumatized part of them that may come out from time to time of like, I'm unlovable, or people betray me, or, you know, they have this angsty sort of beast within them, but not in like a crazy way or anything like that, because I think most of us have that sort of bitter, you know, monster, quotation marks, inside of us. but it's almost like they feel like either you would understand that part of them, or you wouldn't judge that part of them, or you would, like you would get that. Something about it, like you wouldn't judge them, or you would understand them, or you would be able to help them work through that shadow part of themselves. It feels like their shadow feels safe with you. And maybe that's a rarity for this person. Maybe they're not used to people seeing their shadow side and being okay with that. I feel like this fear of love probably goes all the way back to childhood for this person, because it feels like these shadow parts to them, their personality, are quite strong. And they may even kind of overwhelm this person to an extent at certain times. But you make them feel safe. You make them feel like even their darkest parts are still lovable. That's really beautiful. I like that a lot. Because, like, you know, of course, we shouldn't be living in our shadow necessarily, of course, because that's just not healthy. But I'm of the belief that if you're with the right kind of person for you, they're not going to be as scared as, you know, your past partners when it comes to your shadow self. Because I know that I've dated people where they just wanted me to be the happy version of me. They didn't want the depressed version of me. They didn't want the anxious version of me. And so anytime those like feelings of depression came to the surface, anytime those feelings of anxiety came to the surface, I was seeing more so in those relationship dynamics as an inconvenience or a burden, or like, hey, this is not what I signed up for kind of thing. But I feel like you have this way of making this person feel like their shadow side is safe. And still lovable. And I feel like that is like the opposite of the narrative that they have maybe heard throughout their life relating to them and their shadow self, or it's just changing the way that this person perceives that. Because I do think that, you know, with the right kind of person, and obviously our shadow selves it can be a spectrum, right? Because we can have our shadow selves be, you know, these unhealed versions of ourselves that don't do a lot of damage to those around us. But then there's also those shadow selves, or shadow parts to people, where it's like they wreak havoc on everyone and everything around them. So it really depends. And I'm not trying to say that, like, you know, oh, you should love somebody's shadow self no matter what. If, you know, if you truly love them, you'll put up with anything. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Especially if those people are just simply living in their shadow self, unwilling or unable to fix or reflect on their toxicities and how they're treating other people and all that stuff. And if they're abusing and all that stuff, that's not what I'm talking about. But rather, you know, like in my example I was giving about myself, it's like, I feel like if I were to, you know, meet my soulmate or whatever, I feel like they would not be afraid of me going through those periods of depression, or they wouldn't be offended that I'm going through a period of depression. They wouldn't feel like that's a burden on them if I'm going through a depression. And so that's kind of personally my belief, that like if we're with the right person, those shadowy aspects that we feel like make us unlovable, that other person is going to love and care for us even in those difficult times when our shadow selves really raise to the surface. Yeah. But with that being said, just be sure that you're not like putting up with abuse or anything like that in the process of trying to show somebody that they're lovable. Yeah. Okay, let's go into the Four of Pentacles and see what that's about. Let me take a sip first though. Yeah. Four of Pentacles, please, and thank you, Spirit. Who's coming towards the collective? And why? Who are you guiding towards the collective with this Four of Pentacles, please, and thank you, Spirit? Who are you guiding towards the collective with this Four of Pentacles, and why? Who is this person and what do they want? Please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else about this Four of Pentacles, please and thank you, Spirit? Okay. Interesting. So, clarifying that Four of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Pentacles. Ten of Swords came out in the reverse. Very interesting. Four of Wands came out this direction. Bottom of the deck, the World card. Okay. Four of Pentacles. That is typically... That's typically a card of like holding on to things that really don't serve you, and like I typically describe it as like stuff that's past its expiration date in your life kind of thing. Typically I think of it as like being people, situations, environments, you know, the things that just really don't serve you, and maybe you've known it for a long time but you're just kind of afraid that nothing better is out there, so you're like holding on to it, just, you know, it's like that lack mentality of like, well, I'm not going to get any better anywhere else, so I'm just going to hold on to this decaying body and hope for the best. Yeah. So it can be in that sort of unhealed energy. Interesting, then it's clarified by the Knight of Pentacles. Somebody, like, I feel like that's, especially in correlation to that Four of Pentacles. This Knight of Pentacles feels like consciousness. It feels like this person is acknowledging maybe that part of them that wants to hold on to things that don't serve them and things that they know don't serve them. It feels like they're slowly realizing this, and they're slowly making plans for their future, correcting that way of thinking, trying to head in a new direction that does not have to do with holding on to things that are past their expiration date. But that's also a slow process because it is the Knight of Pentacles, the slowest moving knight in the deck. But not, because like also I feel like when with saying it's the slowest moving knight in the deck, sometimes I feel like that can also kind of feel like laziness to an extent. But the Knight of Pentacles is not a lazy person. They may take a long time to get to where they want, but that's only because they've planned out everything. They've taken the proper time that is necessary to make a healthy decision here. So it's like they are going to overcome that feeling of holding on to things that don't really serve them. But it may just take some time. But they will, especially if they stay focused, concentrated, which that is definitely the Knight of Pentacles. Very focused, very concentrated on their goals. The way this is coming through, this feels like maybe this is a continuation of that last person we were talking about, but we'll see, I think, as it unravels more. Ten of Swords in the reverse. I actually think this is a beautiful card because the Ten of Swords upright is really about being at rock bottom. In the reverse, you know, it's like almost as if this person was in the reverse, all these swords would like kind of just come out of their back naturally. And so that to me is speaking of like somebody is gaining hope. That's what it feels like to me. It's like even if somebody has been hurt time and time and time again, something here is making them hopeful that that pain, that suffering, that rock bottom is completed and that will not take place again. Like finally they're out of this darkness, finally they're out of this pain that they have grown so used to. With the Four of Wands coming out this way, I think that that is very clearly, yeah, I feel like this is probably what's going on here is like this person has been holding on to maybe toxic people or toxic types of relationships with people. They're breaking free out of that cycle, and that's making them feel a lot better, you know, especially because they have this conscious, yeah, they're making conscious action. They're taking this like conscious action to overcome the things that they feel like they have been burdened by. And it feels like it could definitely be in relation to relationships, because then that Four of Swords, I keep messing up my my brain literally tells me other words and then I spew them out instead of the ones that I actually know are factually correct. Anyways, that's a me problem, not a you problem. But the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands could be a card of union. It's a card of twin flames as well, but I'm not such a big fan of twin flames typically. Or at least the label. And so if this does represent union, and it comes out in this direction, I see that as a good thing. I see that as like a driving force for this person. So it's like, I feel like this person has hope now for the future. They see that a union is possible, and not just a union, but a healthy union that's very abundant, can provide a lot of happiness and stability. Like somebody that they can really grow and, yeah, someone that they can grow things with, someone that they can actually have a stable relationship and build other beautiful things on top of it. And it actually, that whole message really goes perfectly with the World card at the bottom of the deck, because the World card is about completing old cycles. Typically those are the more negative cycles that we find ourselves stuck in, and they just happen to repeat and repeat and repeat until we learn the lesson and we move on and make changes. But the World card is all about closing out those old cycles that have been leaving us, super miserable and trapped. We're moving into new cycles that are going to be way more fulfilling, more divinely aligned to our happiness, to our own personal growth and our higher self. So it really does feel like this person feels like they can make these changes, because now they see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe for a really long time, they may have felt like, okay, I just kind of, I know I need to work on these things, but I'm just going to stick with it because I'm used to it. Whatever, that's fine. Let's just keep doing that. But now it's almost like they see an alternative. Like they thought that they had to live their life one way, but now they are seeing that there's another way to live. And it feels like you are providing that other way to live, or you are showing this person that there is another way to live. Something that is more in alignment to them becoming their highest self. And having a life or a lifestyle that's in alignment with that. It feels like this is somebody that is experiencing hope. And I feel like you're that person that is giving this person that sense of hope. So even if this is not that same person from before, that King of Swords, I'm tempted to say that King of Swords turned King of Cups from what we saw. Even if this is somebody else and not related to that, you are encouraging someone, or you are showing somebody that pretty much there's another way. They don't have to live in the same old cycles that don't serve them. They don't have to keep putting up with the same types of people. There's another way, and that other path is worth pursuing. And so I feel like they are making that change for themselves, and that's a big deal. I want to see what's underneath the World card. Four of Pentacles. That's funny because we're clarifying the Four of Pentacles right now. So yeah, that's what they're leaving behind in the past. That's what this World card is saying goodbye to, is holding on to things, people, situations, environments that do not serve them, that are way past their expiration date. They're like, okay, I'm done with that. Let's start the brand new cycle of the things that are actually good for me and actually serve me. Beautiful. I actually really love that message. Very straightforward. I like it. Let's go on to the Ace of Swords. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who are you bringing towards the collective with that Ace of Swords, and why? Who are you bringing towards the collective with this Ace of Swords? Please and thank you, Spirit, and why? Anything else for the Ace of Swords, please, and thank you, Spirit. Okay. 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 How many times can I say okay? Clarifying that Ace of Swords, we have the King of Pentacles. Three of Swords came out like this. Interesting. Oh, it's a little jumping spider. Those guys are cute. I have nothing against the jumping spider, although the jumping is kind of a little bit scary, but they're usually very tiny little guys, and they're just cute. I don't know, like Lucas the spider. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That's like a very old meme. Oh my god, it's probably like a 10-year-old meme by this point. I'm old. Anyways. Not that 10 years is a long time, but I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it. Anyways, why am I talking about that? Oh, just jumping spider. Maybe I'll put in like the spiritual significance. Okay, so after that Three of Swords, we have the Page of Swords. And then it gets juicy. Because then we have the Seven of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, the Love. Okay, if I could hold the cards, the Lovers, and then bottom of the deck, the Sun card. Oh, mama. That's what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna reposition my cards so that it makes a little bit more sense. Ugh. My legs just keep falling asleep. It's almost like I have circulation issues or something. Which I do, but anyways. So Ace of Swords, that is about something coming to light. Usually it's a truth that's being revealed, information coming to light, a message coming to light even. So there was a strength card I saw earlier. Oh, that was at the bottom of the deck, and I think that was in the last part of the reading. Because there was the infinity symbol above the strength, the angel in the strength card has that infinity symbol above their head. And this is the infinity symbol here. So I am tempted to say, or maybe it wasn't the last part, it was the first part of the reading. Anyways, I'm tempted to say that this is the same person, because I feel like there's something significant about the infinity symbol there. And I believe that the infinity symbol above the head is it representing like divine wisdom, being so tapped into the divine, like, because also the infinity symbol is like infinity, right? So it's like that never-ending information being given to someone. All of that divine wisdom, maybe constantly. So this could be somebody that's very spiritual, very spiritually tapped in, very intuitive. Or maybe they're opening their mind to spirituality, or they feel like spirit is playing a part in this connection with you. King of Pentacles. That's very stable, secure, abundant energy. Somebody's successful. They hold their own in some regard. They're a fighter. They're not afraid to fight for what... Oh, okay. Got the message they're not afraid to fight for what's right, but I'm also getting that they aren't afraid of, you know, fighting for whatever it is that they want. Especially if they feel like it's in alignment with their stability, security, abundance. I feel like that could definitely be how this person's showing up when they come to reveal something to you, whether that be information, a message, divine wisdom, maybe an idea even. With the Three of Swords going like that, that feels like something about baggage. They've been hurt many times, probably by many people, or many situations in their life. And so that causes a bit of a roadblock to this person. But I don't want to say it's as strong as a roadblock. It almost feels like more so of speed bump. It's more of like a bump in the road, because I feel like this person's actively overcoming that past trauma and the fear associated with it. And then that Page of Swords following it, why do I feel like it's like, because the Page of Swords can be like that observer energy. So it almost feels like because of their past experiences with love, or just being hurt by other people, it doesn't even have to be specifically love, having bad experiences with others, they enter this phase of observing you. So it definitely feels like, it feels like they're almost disguised at a particular point where it's like they're just gonna observe you for a bit before they actually act and come towards you, because they want to feel you out in some regard without. This feels to me like somebody may be looking at you on social media through a fake account. It's like they're really this King of Pentacles, but they're going to show up as so and so 857, you know, like just a random username. And that's because of their pain from the past. They want to see how you are before they actually put themselves out there and show you who they really are. But when they do present themselves to you, because I feel like they will with that Ace of Swords, they're going to show up as this and not this, because this feels like a fake account or whatever, you know, or even just a mask, where it's like they may even kind of show up in a way that's a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervous, a little bit withdrawn, but then eventually they are just like, okay, I feel safe enough to show you who I really am. And then the Seven of Pentacles I actually quite like, because that feels like, so if, like, there's a part of the Seven of Pentacles that deals with like patience in the process, having patience in a process, you know, something that takes a long time, so you're going to have to be patient with it. Something that builds up over time, so you have to be patient and stick with it. Maybe they've been observing your own growth and how you've been slowly building something on your own. They've been maybe checking you out, seeing what you're up to with like what you're building, watching you work, watching you build something slowly over time. And it could also, with that Seven of Pentacles, feel like the best kind of game plan when it comes to you and building with you. The best thing is to be slow and steady and patient in the process. And then the Nine of Pentacles follows that Seven of Pentacles, and I feel like that is you building up some sort of abundance, some sort of stability in your own right. And I feel like it's then that this person feels like, okay, I think I found my match. It's almost like they want to see if you are consistent, all that kind of stuff, but also that you have what it takes to stick with something. Because it's almost like they appreciate your patience and the way that you build things in your own life. Like you understand that things that are worth having take some time to build. And so they've been observing this about you in your life. And it's like when you start to have that sense of stability, security, abundance, building. Also, the both of you are incredibly talented, because they both have grapes in the imageries. And the grapes are supposed to be indicating a craft that takes skill. You know, being good at a craft that takes skill, and the only way that you build skill is through practice and becoming really good at that thing. I feel like you both have things that you have, you both have things that you're really talented in, or that you're very practiced in. You both have something going for you, pretty much, is what I'm trying to say. That probably leads to you building abundance. They probably see a lot of themselves reflected in you. Also, you may have very similar mindsets, and they're catching all these little details about you, about like, okay, this would make us compatible. This would be useful for my partner to have this mindset or whatever. Very interesting. But yeah, they've been observing you. I want to say they've been really impressed with what they've been seeing about how hard you are working towards something, about how you've been consistent at something for a period of time. They find that attractive. And it's interesting because that Page of Swords is such an energy of being still and kind of scared, like a little scaredy pants. No offense to this person, by the way, but they're a little bit scared and like not super action motivated. But then the Knight of Swords comes after that Nine of Pentacles, and so it's like when they see what they want to see, like the things that they've kind of been waiting to see in you, then it's like they're all in. They're putting in all their energy. They're going towards you with all their might. They're no longer unsure. They're no longer afraid, no longer unsure. They know what they want to say. And so they're going to be coming in and telling you. And what I feel like they're going to say is like they feel like the two of you would make very good counterparts. The two of you would be the kind of union that the two of you would have. Oops, sorry. I squished a mosquito. I'm sorry, mosquito, but I don't want any more bug bites. So bad. Anyways, also there's a part of this that definitely feels like spirit has been playing a part. And maybe this is something that they kind of want to express to you is like, and maybe they don't even know why they're so drawn to you either. Maybe they're just like, okay, I've been really drawn to you. I've been observing you. I don't know if they're going to go into all that specifics because they probably don't want to freak you out, but well, I guess it depends. Like, because maybe you do something in the public eye, and so it's not that big of a deal if they've been observing you. Like if you have like a job or you're like on social media or something, it might not be that big of a deal that they've been observing you. But they definitely want to share how they feel like spirit has played a part in this, or they feel like a very strong spiritual connection to you, and they feel like this is bringing the two of you together. Something about like it being almost destined, even potentially, is what they could be telling you. You're also like a light for this person, I feel. You bring them happiness. And again, like they feel like there's a lot of similarities between the two of you. And I wonder if it's just your work ethic or if it's something more. And the warmth and the happiness that you bring to them, I feel like is very much emphasized by the Sun card. That's like the happiest card in the deck. Also, very interesting that it's the Sun here because we're clarifying the Ace of Swords. And as I said, the Ace of Swords can sometimes be a revealing of something that was not seen before. An unveiling, so to speak. Whereas the Sun can be shedding light on something that was in the darkness before. So it feels like there is like this common theme here about something coming to light. But it's important and it's positive. Very positive. I want to see what's underneath that Sun card. King of Wands. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. This is probably an Emperor. Because we saw King of Swords, King of Cups, King of Pentacles, and now we're seeing the King of Wands. All the kings together represent the Emperor. You were showing up earlier as the Empress. So, I mean, the two of you have what it takes to be a very strong power couple. You have a lot of things in common. You're both, I feel like saying the both of you have like goals that you're actively pursuing. You're both action oriented. You're not just people that think about doing something for a really long time. You both are action doers. You both have a plan. You both have like a sense of purpose, drive, they like that. And I feel like you're gonna like that about them too. It really does feel like two peas in a pod sort of energy, where it's like the two of you, you just get each other. And I feel like this could even be that type of connection where you don't even have to say a whole lot to one another. Hell, maybe this is even one of those situations where the two of you could spend, you know, however long around each other, like, and maybe not even doing that much, but you still enjoy it because you're together, you know? Like, you don't have to put a lot of effort in to, like, impress the other person or keep them entertained or whatever. Sometimes you can just chill and it feels good. Yeah. I feel like this is definitely your counterpart that the spirit is bringing towards you. I'm inclined to say that this is all about one person, and this is about spirit bringing your soulmate to you. That may sound a little dramatic, but that's what I'm getting. I think this is your soulmate that spirit is bringing towards you. Let's explore the rest of the reading and see if we can get, maybe there's another person in this story, or other people, not like related to the romantic part, but maybe other people spirit is bringing towards you. We'll see, because we still have the Two of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles to clarify. Let's clarify that Two of Pentacles, please, and thank you, Spirit. Can you clarify this Two of Pentacles? Who are you bringing towards the collective, and why, please, and thank you, Spirit? Anything else about this Two of Pentacles? Who are you bringing towards the collective, please, and thank you, Spirit? And why are you bringing them to the collective? Anything else about that Two of Pentacles, please, and thank you, Spirit? Anything else about that Two of Pentacles? Who are you bringing towards the collective and why? No, that's way too many. Okay. Ooh. Interesting. So, clarifying that Two of Pentacles, we have Seven of Swords, Seven of Wands. Repeating sevens could definitely be significant. The Star card, which is a 17. Interesting. Sevens are very significant. Bottom of the deck. Justice. This... I actually think this is a really beautiful message here. So, Two of Pentacles, that's about establishing balance. Why do I feel like you're entering a chapter that is going to be very balancing? Well, I mean, balance is also a huge theme of the Justice card as well. So, makes a lot of sense. It's really clicking here. Because at first, I was a little bit nervous seeing the Seven of Swords. Because I was like, oh no. I don't want the collective here to have to deal with sneaky people. People that are just trying to, like, you know, F you over or whatever. But I'm inclined to say that this is what you're used to, or what your past has consisted of. People being sneaky, people being full of BS, people trying to betray you, deceive you, do things that are just like, leave me alone, like, bro, like, why are you even in my life if you're gonna be just doing games, like playing games and being an immature ass? Like, okay, anyways, I don't know why I got so heated over that, but I'm on your side here, collective. But Seven of Wands following that Seven of Swords, why does it feel like you have been putting in a lot of work in your life to specifically grow apart from these types of people? I think you've been really working on yourself. You've been putting in a lot of hard work on yourself. You've been fighting, but not just fighting generally. Fighting with your best interest in mind, and I feel like that's new for you. Especially because the Two of Pentacles that we're clarifying, sometimes that can be like, right now you don't have balance, but you realize you need to find balance, so you're working on it. And so I feel like Seven of Swords is the type of person that you're typically used to attracting, going towards, etc. But because of all of the hard work that you have been investing in yourself in your life, the things that you have been focusing your energy and hard work on are setting you up in such a way that you're not going to be attracting the same people that you used to. And in a lot of ways, this message is sort of mirroring that energy of the World card that I saw at the bottom of the deck earlier in this reading, where it's like, the person that's coming towards you is closing out that cycle of like misery, I want to say, and beginning a new cycle of like hope and opportunity and all that beautiful stuff. I feel like you're on the same sort of path here. Also, I feel like saying you haven't given up. You haven't given up on love. You haven't given up on yourself. You haven't given up on your life. You haven't given up on your goals. And it's like, that's paying off for you. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm feeling so strongly, is like, this is paying off for you. All of this hard work that you've been investing in yourself and in your life has not been in vain. The Star card. That feels like Spirit just saying straight up, like, I'm so freaking proud of you right now. Because the Star card, I feel like it's also about like living your purpose and your divine purpose. There's also a lot of healing with the Star card. And not just healing yourself, but healing the collective as well. And so why do I feel like you're doing what you're doing for yourself and for your life is not only going to positively impact you, but is also going to positively impact the people around you. I feel like you're being a very good role model for what it looks like the outcome of you focusing on yourself, focusing on your self-care, focusing on prioritizing yourself, focusing on feeding yourself, and yeah, doing all of the things to set you up for success. Like, you're going to be showing up in a way where people are going to be like, so that's why I should work on myself. So that's why I should not give up on my goals and dreams and all that kind of stuff. I feel like you're very much serving as an example here. Like, what could be possible if you acknowledge maybe parts in your past where it's like you may have had more control over these situations than you thought you did. Taking responsibility for yourself, for your actions, for reoccurring themes and cycles. I feel like you're going to be a great example to those who question that part or question that journey. You know, is it worth it? Is it worth, you know, working on myself? Is it worth being single to heal myself? Is it worth, you know, whatever. I feel like you're showing up in a way that is showing like it is worth it. And you're not going to be disappointed. As long as you are prioritizing yourself, you believe better is out there. You have faith that better is out there, and you don't give up on that. Better will come along, and it will surprise you. And I feel like, yeah, that's kind of why you're attracting this person into your life in this timing, I feel, is because you've been investing so much in yourself. And so I feel like that Two of Pentacles is really talking about how you realized that maybe something was imbalanced in your life, and you worked really hard on balancing that out, and so therefore you're coming into this time of balance. Things finally feeling like there's reason, there's balance and reason to the universe. It's like, finally I'm feeling that payoff for all of the hard work I've been investing in myself and in my life. Also, I feel like through all this self-work, you're going to be glowing like the star. You're going to just be glowing. So it's like, yeah, of course you're going to attract the person that is truly meant for you when you're glowing like the freaking sun here. You know, you're just like this beautiful, radiant person, focusing on yourself, doing what you got to do, fulfilling your purpose, being very humble about it, being very giving with your time, your energy, not just focused on yourself, but others as well. And so it's like you're in that perfect alignment, perfect frequency to attract those high vibrational things, energies, people, situations, environments, all that stuff. Justice card at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, it's like you've been building up really good karma for a long time. And so get ready for that karma to be paying off and being returned to you. The scales are going to be balanced. You're not going to be feeling like you've been just like, you know, beating a dead horse or whatever, you know? You're going to feel like, okay, I'm actually getting somewhere here. This is showing. I feel like especially when this person comes into your life and things start to take off with this person, you're going to definitely have that moment of feeling like, oh, so that's what this was for, you know? That's what all of this has been for. All of this hard work that I've been investing in myself and in my life is finally paying off. There was a reason that I you know, there was a reason why I did it, and here is the answer, you know? Showing you that it wasn't in vain, all of that hard work. It was not in vain. Oh, let's see what's underneath the Justice card. Queen of Wands. That's so funny because we just saw the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck, didn't we? Yeah. Also, I almost am, yeah, I'm gonna say it. Like, I feel like the two of you probably have very balanced masculine and feminine qualities within yourselves. I feel like the both of you are probably gonna reflect that back to each other. Where it's like you have a good mixture of masculinity and femininity within yourself. And so you're gonna like be more like dynamic people. You're gonna be more, you know, you're not gonna be as afraid to like tap into your emotions or to put in that hard work for certain things. You know, like you're gonna get each other on many levels is what I feel. I want to say too that the both of you probably stick out in some way. There's something special about the both of you. You know, the King of Wands, Queen of Wands, both known for being very confident people, very attractive people as well, very charismatic people. You may be good with people. Maybe the both of you are really good with people. Because it feels like the two of you have good, like, reputations? Why do I want to say that? The two of you may have really good reputations that almost speak for themselves. Because it's almost like, I'm getting like in my mind's eye, like this situation where it's like maybe somebody wants to hate on one of you, and maybe not for any good reason, but rather just like out of jealousy or whatever. And so somebody's trying to like maybe talk shit about you, but word on the street is you're not like that sort of narrative that this random person's trying to put out there about you. It's like, well, that doesn't really align with all the wonderful things that they do every single day in and day out. So I think you have to check your sources on that one. Because it's like, yeah, there's a lot of special qualities that the both of you share. And maybe there's also this feeling of like misunderstanding or like feeling misunderstood, because maybe it took a really long time for you to build up that reputation. And maybe you had a lot of bumps along the way where people were trying to just like be those maybe gossip mongers and like just you hate or things that weren't actually aligned to who you truthfully were. I feel like the two of you are gonna get each other on so many different levels. This feels really good. It feels like this is the type of person where you can just feel like, I know this person understands me. I know this person just gets me. And that's gonna be such a comforting, nice feeling for the both of you. Because also, like, maybe the two of you have also grown up in environments where you felt very left out, misunderstood, you know, and so you could even bond over your childhoods being very similar as well. I really am digging this reading. I did not expect it to be so in-depth, I guess. Very beautiful energy, though. Okay, let's go on to the Page of Pentacles, see what that's about. Please and thank you, Spirit. Can you clarify this Page of Pentacles? Who are you bringing towards the collective? And why? With that Page of Pentacles, please and thank you, Spirit. What else do you got for that Page of Pentacles? Please and thank you, Spirit. Page of Pentacles. Who is this? And why are you bringing them towards the collective? Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, okay. The first three cards that came out are just like interesting. But anyways, clarifying that Page of Pentacles, we have the World card. Okay, if I can hold the cards, let's have the bow. The Devil card, the Fool card. So these were the first three that came out, and I was just like, that's kind of crazy because this is the Page of Pentacles. I did not expect the Page of Pentacles to be clarified by three major arcana. Because like the pages, like, no offense to the pages of the tarot, but they're not as developed as the other characters in the deck, I'll say. So it's just kind of interesting how that's showing up like that. Which actually makes me inclined to say rather, that this may be a new person in your life, but the impact that they have on you is like earth-shattering. I'm getting the word unassuming, so this is so interesting because it's almost like from the surface, or before you truly get to know this person, you think they're one way, or maybe that the impact that they'll have on your life is maybe minor, but then it's like you get to know this person, you start to hang out, you start to catch those feelings, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, 10 years go by and you're married and you like have a family and you're happy. Like, you know, it's something like that where it's like, who would have thought that this person, maybe that I saw in passing here and there, or, you know, that I didn't really think too much of at first glance, is now the love of my life. You know, it feels very significant. Like, it feels like something that you're just not going to experience every day. This is like a once in a lifetime sort of connection, I feel, because it's just like, it just feels earth shattering. I feel like this is the type of connection that just, you may even like be like, I did not realize that connections like this even existed in real life, you know? Like the stars have aligned for the two of you to meet. But anyways, the World card, the Devil, the Fool. I find that such an interesting combination. There are other cards that came out too, but I really want to focus on these three because they were the first three that came out. So I'm getting sun and moon vibes as a relationship. Maybe one of you identifies more as the sun and one of you identifies more as the moon. Kind of like, what is that dynamic called? Like a golden retriever and black cat energy. That's what it gives me. Like one of you may sort of more identify with your shadow, and the other person may more resonate with their like lighter side, if that makes any sense. Like, not to say that you both don't have a light side and a shadow side, because like that's just part of being human, having both of those things. But maybe the way you show up in the world, like one of you, maybe it's even like literally aesthetics. Maybe one of you shows up more alternative and wears like more dark colors. And then the other one's like always wearing like rainbows and stuff. Like, and you know, that's just like an example. It doesn't have to be specifically that, but could definitely be that sort of connection that the two of you share. Is like, maybe on the surface it doesn't make a lot of sense, and people are like, what do those two have in common? They look completely different from one another. Maybe even different cultural backgrounds. It could even be that, like maybe different skin colors, and people are just like, how does that work? But the two of you are like two peas in a pod. Like, you both just get each other, you both understand each other, you both feel each other in such a deep sense. And I feel like it doesn't matter if the world doesn't understand it, because it makes sense to you and it makes you happy. So it's like, yeah, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm happy. I'm with the love of my life. Like, get over it. And okay, so I'm going to focus mostly on the World card and the Devil card here, because it feels like there's something here about, so for one, it could definitely just be indicating that like you are closing out those toxic cycles, opening more healthy new ones, which I think is kind of what this whole reading has really been about. But I think it's more than that. There's something here about like, and this is kind of where I got that duality sort of message, where it's like this dark, scary card next to this light, angelic, beautiful card, you know? And it's just like, I feel like that's almost like the two of you side by side, where it's like, how does that work? But, you know, in reality, the two of you just like get along perfectly fine and are super compatible. And to an extent, I think that maybe you may identify as the lighter side, or this person perceives you to say, sort of like identify more with your lighter side, or you just show up in the 3D world more so in your lighter side energy. this person I think really kind of admires you a lot and may even slightly put you on a bit of a pedestal and kind of see you as slightly angelic. And maybe that has to do with like the timing that the two of you came into each other's lives. There's a lot of things that could contribute to that don't have to do with like your physical aesthetic or you being completely bubbly and perfect all the time, you know? But I feel like the two of you are going to connect on transformation. You're also going to connect on your shadow sides. Like, that's going to sound very bizarre, but it's like, I think the two of you understand what it's like to maybe like take a good, long, hard look at yourself in the mirror and really like look at those deep shadows within yourself. Because not everybody is either willing to do that sort of work or can do that kind of work. But it's like you both have the balls, I want to say, to kind of just like do that really tough work that nobody really wants to do. That really tough spiritual work of like realizing that something's going wrong in your life, and you, instead of blaming those around you, blaming everything around you, like, oh, it's because of that person, it's because of blah, blah, blah. No, you realize that something needs to change. You realize that something's wrong, it needs to change. And so you look at yourself and you're like, what can I do to maybe correct the direction of where I'm heading, or to make those very difficult changes in myself so that I can align myself with what is actually good for me and sets me up for more success for my future. I feel like the two of you are going to really understand each other very much when it comes to I think, what am I looking at? Oh, okay, I think it's somebody holding a flag. I just see like a flag walking across the bridge in front of me. I'm pretty sure it's just a person holding it and walking with it, but it's just so funny because all I can see is the flag part. I don't even see like, I don't think it was a vehicle, because like there's a lot of vehicles driving over the bridge, but I think it's just somebody walking on this bridge like holding a flag, but like all I could see was the flag and it was kind of like wavering like it was walking on its own. Anyways, that is not related to anything. It was just kind of distracting. But yeah, like the two of you know what it's like to do that deep spiritual work. That stuff that not everybody does. That stuff that a lot of people don't want to do. A lot of people don't want to look at their shadow self. A lot of people don't want to admit their own flaws. And, you know, on top of that, say, I can change that. Taking full responsibility too for like, you know, those parts of ourselves. Like that takes a lot of guts. That takes a lot of like strength of will and yeah, just a lot of internal strength. And I don't know, you two are gonna really understand each other in that way, because it's like you both know what it's like. Maybe mental health also you could connect over, because it's almost like the both of you really relate to being in these high highs and these low lows. What am I looking at? Now it's coming back this way, the flag. Is it just somebody walking up and down this bridge with all these flags? I don't, like one of them is an American flag, I'm pretty sure, but the other one is like blue. I'm so curious. I mean, I think they have a message, but I just don't know what it is. Oh, maybe it has something to do with like 9/11. That might be what they're doing. I forgot that it's 9/11 today. Anyways, yeah, so it's like you both know what it feels like to be at your highest, or maybe your lightest, your happiest, but you also know what it's like to sink down into the depths of your shadow, the depths of despair, the depths of feeling trapped, feeling powerless. I think that both of you also have a lot of duality, and I think that's kind of been a common theme in this as well. It's like maybe you both have that balanced masculine and feminine within you, but you also have a balanced sense of shadow and light, a balanced sense of like, maybe like you have those types of personalities where it's like you're very nice until somebody pushes you, and then it's like, okay, well, we can switch that flip real quick. Switch that flip is that what I said? Flip that switch is what I meant to say. We can yeah, like the second you realize like, okay, somebody's mistreating me, the second that you realize like somebody's trying to take advantage of my nice, kind qualities, I can shut that off in a minute, you know? There's something really tough about the both of you, but it's like through your lived experiences, through these dark nights of the soul, like that is something that's a very significant part of a spiritual journey, and I feel like you both have gone through your dark nights of the soul, so you both really understand each other in like very significant, impactful ways. And then the Fool card, it's like, okay, now that we've both kind of worked through all of these ups and downs, turnarounds, and we've closed out cycles that aren't serving us, we overcame our toxicities, we're both walking more so in the light now, that Fool card is all about new beginnings. It's also about spirit guiding you towards a new beginning. So I do feel like this could be very much like a divine connection, that spirit literally is putting the two of you together, like now kiss, you know? Like that meme? Anyways, yeah. So pretty much you're dolls and spirit is playing with you. No, I'm just kidding. You're both freaking marionettes, or what are those dolls called? Can't think of it. Maybe I'm thinking of like, I don't want to say voodoo dolls. I feel like, okay, doesn't matter. Okay. But yeah, I feel like you're gonna just get each other on so many levels, and it's just gonna make sense. And you're like, the two of you, the more you talk, the more you understand each other, it's like, okay, I think it's meant to be. I think we're meant to take this connection and build it, or like bring it somewhere. This is meant to go the distance, and we're meant to be in this together kind of energy. And then we have the High Priestess, which is another major arcana card. So that's a lot of major arcana for this Page of Pentacles. And then we have the Ace of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. Oh, I'm just remembering that the King of Pentacles came out earlier too, so that's good. Ace of Wands. Bottom of the deck, Eight of Cups. Interesting. So the High Priestess would indicate to me that one or both of you have a very strong sense of intuition and or very strong connection to spirit. There's something about a quiet nature that the two of you share as well. And maybe it's simply like those moments where you're like just hanging out with someone and you don't really have to do anything really that much in that moment, but you're just happy to be with that person. Like you could be doing completely different tasks or doing nothing at all and you're still happy because you're with that person. I'm getting that in my mind. Like the two of you could be very content with like not doing very much at all. Maybe the two of you just like cuddling up at night, you know, not doing that much. It's like, okay, that's still a good night because I'm spending it with my person. There's something about, could even be like maybe a sense of an introverted nature that the two of you share as well. Because maybe it's like, even if you are really good with people, I think, you know, there's definitely that gray area when it comes to introverts versus extroverts, because I think that a lot of times, well, especially with the society culture we're brought up in, most of us at least, is typically geared more towards favoring extroverts. So a lot of introverts like myself kind of have to act extroverted to a degree in order to pretty much get by in this life, because if I were my introverted self all the time, I think that probably would be not super helpful, at least not with the direction I want my life to go. But yeah, so it could be that the two of you share like a sense of an introverted nature. You don't even have to be introverted all the time necessarily, but maybe like you both feel more like charged when you're like spending some time away from the world and maybe a lot of people, especially if like one or both of you have like jobs where you deal with a lot of people already. It may be kind of like when you two get together, you're just like, let's just like hang out on the couch for the weekend. Like, I don't know, like something along those lines where it's like because especially if the both of you have like really exhausting social jobs, you probably just want to chill with each other at the end of the day. You're just like, I don't want to even think about interacting with anyone, but I still want to spend it with my boo because we love each other. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be that sense of like either a spiritual connection, like the two of you get along in that spiritual sense where you kind of have similar beliefs and stuff, and or there's something about being introverted and the two of you maybe kind of bond over that as well. And maybe you're both like what's it called, ambiverts, I think is what it's called, where you can be kind of both introverted and extroverted. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, that could be maybe where the two of you kind of click or relate to one another. Is like you can be ambiverted, I guess, where you can kind of play it both sides. But maybe the both of you kind of just feel a lot better when you get to sort of charge up at the end of the day, not being around a lot of people, not really interacting with a lot of people, just kind of chilling and recharging your battery, so to speak. I think that the Ace of Swords here is definitely indicating that the two of you are going to have a lot to talk about. You're going to have a lot of like similar ideas, or you're going to see things in maybe a similar way. I think also this is, I just see a lot of mind expansion. So I feel like the two of you are going to really bring out each other's like thinking, thoughtfulness, like I don't know, you're gonna make the other person see things from a different perspective. I feel like you're gonna be good at that, where it's like it feels like a healthy sort of dynamic in that way of like you two can debate on something where you have two different views, but you don't turn it into like a personal attack or, you know, like, oh, you're stupid for having that opinion. No, like it's like you can have like a intellectual, you know, calm debate without it spiraling into something toxic. And maybe that's even something that the two of you both like, is like you like to kind of be challenged on your thoughts, opinions, topics and stuff. Because personally for me, I know I like that. I like to have like those types of like debates, I guess, like in a relationship, but I don't want the other person to think that I'm personally attacking them. I just like to learn, and I like to think out loud a lot of times, and it helps me to, especially when there's another person's perspective, I can typically, in my experience, I can like learn more and I can grow more and I can adapt my opinions to what is actually accurate or fair or whatever, and not just be like, I'm right and you need to agree with me or else, you know, like, no. I feel like you're gonna have that kind of fun intellectual side to this connection, where the two of you aren't afraid to express your thoughts, opinions, ideas and stuff, because you both kind of provide this safe space where it's like, you know, you don't necessarily judge one another, or you don't necessarily you don't like make it personal. It's like we're just having a debate for the fun of it, you know. We're talking about these things that may not have any clear right or wrong answers, but you know, it's worth exploring because it's fun, or it expands the mind. Queen of Pentacles. I think this person sees you as a very maternal sort of figure, regardless of gender. Could just be that sort of sensitive, protective, maternal or parental energy of just being like steady, steadfast, calm, grounded. There's like a certain sense of safety they feel with you that is very special and important to this person. They could even see you as being like the parent of their children, whether they have children already or they plan on having children with you. They could see that you're a really good fit for that sort of role, and that you would be like a healthy parent and not somebody that's like parenting out of your unhealed shadow self. Ace of Wands. I think you're both going to be very attracted to one another. The Ace of Wands can definitely be more of like a schmexual sort of energy. So, but I kind of like how the Ace of Wands comes after the Ace of Swords, almost as if to say, there's that whole term like sapiosexual. That could be a thing, where it's like you're interested in people's minds, and yeah, you're interested in people from that point of view. That could be a possibility here. But then on the other hand, it could also be, because sapiosexual, I believe, is also, some people believe that it's just another term for demisexual, which demisexual is typically described as somebody that is attracted to people when they get to know that person, rather than just being attracted to people right off the bat. Like, you can't just be like, well, and it's not necessarily that you don't experience attraction for somebody right off the bat, but it's rather like that's not what's important to you. It's like what's on the inside is what's important to you. Whether you get along well or not is what's important to you. And then once you've established that, then you're like feeling all those like spicy feelings for one another. I feel like that could definitely be a thing here. I also feel like maybe you show up in a way that is so calm, cool, collected, quiet even, dare I say, that this person feels like they kind of had to like crack you open to a degree. Like you're a tough nut to crack, you know? They kind of want to like get that inside look, because it's almost like they know you have a story within you, and they want to like open you up so that they can see that story within you. And it's like the more they learn about you, the more that they are attracted to you, and I think vice versa. I think you're both going to be incredibly attracted to one another, and it's going to be for many reasons, I think, but very strongly with the intellectual parts of it. Also, the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck, I think this is actually really beautiful, because I was getting that message with the Two of Pentacles, I think, where it was like about you focusing on yourself, working on yourself, and then all of the good things that come out of that. And the Eight of Cups is really about choosing yourself. It also kind of gives me that Four of Pentacles energy, where it's like, okay, I realize that I'm holding on to things that are not serving me. And so I'm going to take that action to walk away from those things that do not serve me. Leave them behind in the past. Because I trust and I believe and I have faith that better is out there. What is truly meant for me and aligned with who I want to be, what I want out of life, that is out there. And so I'm going to continue on my path and believe that I will naturally gravitate, or things will be naturally gravitating towards me that are truly meant for me, and that truly serve me, and that are meant for me on my divine path towards my highest self. I feel like the both of you have prioritized yourselves. The both of you have not given up. The both of you have had faith that your person was out there, even if you don't know where, who, when, whatever. You both had the faith that there's got to be more to life than this kind of thing. Okay. I want to see what's underneath that Eight of Cups. Six of Wands. That's beautiful, because like the Six of Wands is all about success. So it's like, yeah, baby, leave those bozos behind in the past that were not serving you, because success is right around the corner. Once you let those dusty crusties go, you're coming into success, baby. I feel like the two of you, this union that's coming together, is definitely going to feel like a huge success. Like all those battles in the past were worth it. All of those difficult nights alone crying into my pillow were worth it. All of those like obstacles that I had to move away from, they were all worth it, because now I am on that path, and I'm coming into union with my soulmate. Like, there's no other way to paint it. Like, that's literally what this whole reading is about. It's about you coming into contact with your soulmate, and the two of you just hitting it off and feeling like, damn, now I know what all of that hard work was for. Now I know why things had to happen the way that they did. Is so that we could align ourselves to come together in divine timing. Such a beautiful message. Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Maybe the two of you, or maybe one, depending on which side you're on, one or both of you may be in this Eight of Swords feeling before you meet one another, I feel. Because especially when we do those actions of like walking away, say, from a 10-year-long relationship, you know, and that's really difficult to do. Like 10 years together, that's a long time. But, you know, over time you may realize, okay, we don't have that same connection we once had. We are not as compatible as we once were, you know. Making those difficult decisions to move away from the things that in that moment are not serving you, and just pushing forward, not really knowing if better is out there, but hoping, that can leave you feeling like this, especially if you're in that in-between time between leaving something behind and, you know, receiving that union. You could be stuck in this headspace of like, well, did I make the right choice? What if that really was my soulmate that I threw away? You know, like we overthink those types of things all the time, especially before we have concrete, three-dimensional, physical proof that it wasn't in vain, you know? I want to see what's underneath this Eight of Swords. It felt like that was sticking, but Five of Wands. That's also internal conflict. I feel like the two of, yeah, like literally, I feel like the two of you are going to have so many things in common, because this feels like you're telling yourself, part of you is telling yourself, like, have faith, it will come, my soulmate will come to me eventually, I just have to have faith and hold on. But then there's also another part of you that's like, well, I'm getting older, how likely is it for me to meet my soulmate at this point in my life? You know, like, there's just like a bunch of like conflicting thoughts, feelings about like, did I make the right choice? Am I making a fool of myself? What if better isn't out there for me? But the thing is, it is. I'm curious. I want to see what's underneath that Five of Wands. Three of Wands. That's beautiful. Especially with this image. I love this image because it really kind of speaks to me. Especially if you look at like the coloring, just simply the coloring. It's like black and white and then color, and it almost looks like that's a portal. So it's like when you have faith, when you don't give in to those thoughts, fears, and when you don't overthink yourself into a corner and feel trapped there. Like, the future is going to be much more brighter, much more fulfilling. Beautiful. So I think that you are entering that portal, and on the other side of that portal that you're stepping into is your union with your soulmate. I'm just saying, that's what this reading is saying. Like, what else can I say? Okay. Let's break out the oracle, see what it has to say. Anything else for this reading, please and thank you, Spirit. About who you're directing towards the collective and why, please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else for this beautiful reading for the collective, please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else you wanted to add to this, please and thank you, Spirit. Get away from me. There's a mosquito. Anyways, anything else, please and thank you, Spirit. Okay, I think that feels like it's necessary to come out. Okay, we're gonna turn around. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay. So, the first one that came out is the Snake and Fern. This represents starting over. I mean, yeah. I think you are starting over, and this is like the beginning. It's like that World card energy again, where it's like you are starting a cycle that is in that higher vibration in alignment to your higher self. Like, the cycle that's opening up for you is probably going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced before, because I feel like you're so used to being in those toxic cycles. This is a new cycle in which you are going to feel like things are finally easy. Connections with others are finally easy. It doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be a constant fight to be with the person that you love. It's gonna feel natural. It's gonna fall perfectly into place, barely with any effort, you know? Obviously, you still have to put an effort for a relationship, but like, it's not gonna feel so forced like your past relationships felt, you know? And then the crow and dogwood came out as well, and this represents intelligence. I feel like saying, look out for snakes and crows. They may be a sign for you relating to how close you are to coming into union with this person, or how close you are to seeing or encountering this person for the first time, maybe. But the intelligence, I feel like, oh my gosh, I almost completely missed the message of this intelligence card, because at first I was going to say you have the intelligence to work on yourself and believe that, you know, better is out there, and, you know, gain that self-worth. But literally what I was just talking about, how the two of you are going to connect so much intellectually that it just flows so well. You have so many things in common. You have a good time with this person when it comes to discussing anything. Like, this is going to be somebody where you can literally stay up all night talking about anything and everything. You know, you're going to be on the phone for like hours and hours and be like, what? It's 6 a.m. What? And you're like, you know, like, it's going to be so beautiful. And especially if you like people with that mental sort of compatibility, you're going to be very happy. I'm just saying. Bottom of the deck, the mouse and buttercup, and this represents innocence. Mice also might be a sign for you, but I feel like, yeah, could definitely be signs relating to this union and the timing. Yeah, the mouse and buttercup, this represents innocence. It very much reminds me of the Fool card. And with that innocence, I feel like there's this sense of like you are able to trust one another, and you can feel like you don't, because there's, you know, especially when we've gone through a lot of like hurt in relationships in life, we can feel like, you know, maybe nobody is worth trusting, you know, maybe nobody is worth our trust because we just get hurt time and time and time again. But it feels like this is just going to click in that way where it's like you just naturally know that I can trust this person. The two of you are going to learn each other inside and out and get each other so strongly that it's like you don't have to worry about, you know, is this person cheating on me? Is this person lying to me? Is this person making things up? Like, you're not going to feel that sense, I feel. Whereas maybe you would if it was somebody else, you know? I feel like this is not going to trigger those same parts of you. And if those parts do get triggered or, you know, do come to the surface, it's going to be addressed and communicated in a way that's healthy and beneficial and not toxic, right? It's very beautiful, beautiful energy. Yeah. Okay, that is this reading. I really hope you enjoyed this because this was a really beautiful reading. I can't wait to upload it and show you guys because I'm happy that it was just so beautiful and positive and wonderful. Anyways, if this resonated at all, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you can become a part of the Hive Collective because my name is Bee. Bees live in hives, and you can become an honorary bee like me, and we can be a little bee family together. If you like my readings and you'd like to see more, be sure to click that bell icon down below so that YouTube actually notifies you the next time that I upload. And thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.